In a world full of distractions, there is one big question on every dog owner's lips.
How do I become more than just the person holding the other end of the leash?
We all get dogs with a dream in mind, a vision of the future. And if right now your everyday reality isn't quite that picture you had in mind, you are in the right place.
It really doesn't have to be this way.
You absolutely can and will be more to your dog than just the person who gets in between them and the world.
The key is you need to be more sexy.
More sexy than the neighbourhood cat.
More sexy than the jogger in the park.
More sexy than that half-eaten hamburger they just found on the floor.
And yes, even more sexy than the dog across the road.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Lauren.
Together we're Absolute Dogs.
And you're listening to the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast. Hello and welcome to the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast, the podcast that gives you real life dog training and human results. Today, I'm joined by the wonderful Tower, and we are talking one of both of our favorite topics and Eliza's favorite topic. It's tricks. It's tricks, Dan. Welcome, 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 welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. This is so much fun, not just to do this, but to talk. We were talking a little bit beforehand, but to essentially like sit in each other's living room and just chat dogs about stuff that we love. This is fun for me. I absolutely love this. So thank you for having me. I love this.
It's a real pleasure and it's a real treat. It's funny. Matt said, "You're doing what till 10 o'clock?" And I was like, podcasts. I'm podcasting tonight, and we're sat in the living room, we're hanging out. Like, tell everybody who's listening, Tower, where are you? What are you about? Because some of the people here, they're already going to know you because you've definitely done a couple of podcasts with me before. At the same time, if you haven't, you need to catch up on those. And here's a quick update on Tower. What are you about, Tower? Why are we talking to you?
I train dogs. I have for many years. I love dogs. My mom tells me my first word was doggy. So I can truly say it's something I've loved my whole life, and I actually get to work with dogs. I started back in the 90s training dogs, and back then, at least in America, it was very much aversives. It was correction-based trainings, from prong collars, shock collars, choke chains, throw chains. At least in my small part of the world, there was not this method or this method. It was, you want to work with dogs, do it this way. So that's what I did. I did that for years. I got very good at it. In the vein of figuring out more and actually starting my own business and kind of making it real, I set forth on learning about positive reinforcement and clicker training, purely to debunk it, so I could tell people why not to use it. And I can laugh about it and chuckle about it now. That was probably one of my best decisions. It changed my life. I now don't use aversives. I use positive exclusively. Love games, love concepts, love the clicker. Just that idea of working with a dog and doing the training, engaging their brain is so much fun. I love that. And I have two dogs that are sleeping at my feet right now, which is amazing. I have Rue, who is 11 years old, who really, I don't think it's an understatement to say, changed my life. She was the one that really kind of ignited the better option, go from aversives to positive reinforcement type training. She is such an amazing, sweet, kind, just loving dog, and she really changed my mindset on that. And it's been so much fun watching her grow, watching her become the dog she's become. Certified therapy dog. For a little bit there, I worked for my local police department, and Rue was brought on staff at the beckoning of the chief as a certified therapy dog for the police department. She's amazing. Then my newest dog, Bagheera, she will be 2 in December. And she is the total opposite of Rue. She is not calm. She is not passive. She maybe could become a therapy dog, probably not. She's more geared toward agility. She's more geared towards high energy. She's intense. And it's been kind of fun just watching as I step back and view myself my training has changed a lot, and I see it in my dogs. Like I mentioned, Rude brought me out of darkness into light, of finding games and finding positive reinforcement. And Bagheera, I'm really refining that and moving more into other kind of thinking and doing other things. We're talking tricks, and Bagheera is amazing with tricks and is so much fun working with
Just
tricks.
tell us a couple of Bagheera's favorite tricks.
Uh, her favorite tricks, honestly, I would say anything we're currently working on, she's like, let's do it. But if she had a choice, she would probably pick anything with movement. If it's movement based, let's do it. She doesn't, like I mentioned, they're sleeping. She doesn't naturally choose sleeping. That's something I worked on. And she now chooses sleep. Like I say, they're literally sleeping at my feet, which is
And
awesome.
is one of the tricks you're currently working on?
Currently working on Let's Pray, where she will put her front paws on my, I bend down on my knees and she'll put her front paws on my leg and then tuck her head under her under my leg, so it kind of looks like she's praying. It's adorable.
Now,
That's
the tricks, the cool thing about tricks, because I definitely think we need to chat some of our favorite bits, because I think we're going to enthuse
yeah.
everyone to be as passionate as we are about them. I was watching Eliza train a new trick the other day. Eliza is 10 years old. She's my daughter, and she was training her little dog. And she was training her little dog to effectively give her some sort of like CPR. Like literally, Liza's lying on the floor, and her little dog's got to keep her back feet still, and boom, boom, Eliza, boom, Eliza, boom, Eliza.
That's awesome.
The cutest little thing. And Liza's little dog is doing it in the happiest manner, as she's like,
I love it.
I'll see if I can find it on my phone, in the cutest little manner, and literally having a
I
whale
love that.
the time. Like really.
And I love what you mentioned there, that the little dog is having fun. To me, that's one of the really cool things about tricks that I've fallen in love with, is the fun.
I've got a real quick video here. I don't know if it'll.
Right.
So they're practicing at the moment on a. So she's just got to bounce up,
Yes. Yes.
keep her legs, boom.
Yep.
So they're working on that
I
first
love it.
bounce, bounce. Now,
I love that.
doing this with another little dog who has this trick to kind of show Eliza a bit of the fun as well. Oh, there it is. There we go. So they're working on boom.
Oh,
And then
yes.
they speed it up and they get the boom, boom. Anyway,
That's amazing.
you're right. It's the little dogs having fun, right? Like that is what it's about. It's about, for me, people like, I mean, my dad's a prime example. Don't make them circus dogs, Lauren. They need a purpose. For me, the purpose is focus, engagement, energy, fun, having a really cool time together, and relationship building and engaging your little dog's brain. Like that's what a trick is.
Tick, 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 tick. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. I love it. And it's funny, as I mentioned my background as an aversive trainer, trainer one, former trainer one. I love that former title in there. I thought tricks were really stupid and pointless. Why do I need my dog? Why do I need my dog to do CPR on me? What in the world do I need that? I want my dog to listen to me when I say listen to me, and blah, 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 blah. I thought tricks were stupid. And it's, I mentioned like my philosophy's chain, and seeing that in my dogs, like I love tricks. And it's, for me, it's not just about the finished product. That's really cool. That's awesome. Absolutely. We're training for a purpose. I mentioned the Let's Pray, the CPR with Eliza. Absolutely. We're training for a purpose. But it's the journey that is so fun and so powerful, that it's in that process of developing that behavior, figuring that out. Hey, it works the human side and it works the dog side. I love that. For the human side, how in the world, I'm sure there's people listening, how in the world, hey, would you teach a dog to do CPR? Like, how? How in the world would you teach a dog to pray? How? And that, for the human side, I love that. And I love working with clients with this, because it gets you thinking differently. And I love to say, ask different questions, you get a different answer.
I love
So if
it.
we think differently,
Yeah.
it helps you. So in the process of building a let's pray or CPR, while that might not directly help reactivity or whatever struggle you're dealing with, it helps the human side figure out, okay, here's where I want to go. I want my dog to do CPR, or I want my dog to stop pulling on leash. How do I get there? And it helps you break a problem down in ways that you wouldn't
And
otherwise.
I think
I
that's where
love that.
we definitely need to think, like, actually, how do tricks help me where actually other methods might not? And this is where I
Right.
think
Yes.
for a lot of dogs, MBN dogs in particular, I'm thinking here. So those people that aren't regular
Mhm.
dogs, naughty but nice dogs, dogs who are maybe a little bit reactive, worried, anxious, overexcited, just obsessive, compulsive, frustrated. For me, watching dogs like this, Liza's little dog's definitely one of them. Great little dog, and at the same time easily strung. For me, it's like a brilliant way of working her brain, working Eliza's brain with her brain, and then giving it an outlet, and giving an appropriate outlet, because to ask her to sit and wait patiently and to just stare at Liza would not be an appropriate outlet for her energy. But to ask her to do CPR, walking around Liza through Eliza's arms in like different hoop shapes, and like she has some really cool little again, I'm just going to try, and this is the worst way to show you a video, and I probably should prep this differently, but I'm thinking about it as we talk. Like the cool thing for me is that when you watch them in the I'll show you a little, I've got another little one here. So this is Eliza. So they're doing some level of
Oh,
leg.
yes.
Liza says, no, you're not going through there.
Yeah, I like it.
And
Yes.
seeing the like little games that
Yes.
make them tick. But
Yeah.
actually, we've got some games that like different levels of middle, for example. So a new middle that we haven't told before. They can be really simple. They can be really,
Yes.
or Liza can get her going through hoops of like arms and legs, and like you can make it
I love it.
appropriate for the dog. And I think you can also design the trick around the dog. So Easy's trick, for example, is always proximity based, because Easy, given a choice, will be 9 fields away. So her tricks might be hug my leg, or middle on the move, or being able to run backwards in middle. So actually her tricks are all based around her struggle. And I love that we can design tricks to the struggle, right?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the powerful things and versatile things. I love that you mentioned that. Is I didn't get that as the former life, that it's like, no, struggle, we deal with the struggle, deal with it, blah, 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 blah. And as we know, putting a dog in the situation is tough to get the change. I trained that way, and it was tough. And so if we can work outside, train for the situation, not in it. So if we bring the dog out here and start working the brain in different ways, like those tricks, middle, how in the world does middle directly help leash pulling? Well, it gets the dog thinking differently. It builds value with you. It builds proximity. It changes that relationship in ways that
It's indescribable.
have far lasting impact than just dealing with a pulling
Like
leash or whatever the issue is.
that Eliza uses often are jumping tricks. And what I've realized is her little dog needs the energy to get out of a situation. So actually, if you keep her in the energy of like bouncing and moving, and movement being really powerful for her, whereas if you were to ask her to do some duration behavior, I think she would really struggle with environment. But because she's given movement in difficult environments, movement overpowers the difficulty of the environment. It's
Yeah.
insanely powerful, right? Like
Yeah.
insanely powerful.
And I jumping off point from there is tricks really give you an insight into who your dog is. Like
Absolutely.
I have two dramatically different dogs. Dramatically, I briefly alluded to that, but they're very different dogs. Rue, very calm, very still, very passive. Bagheera, very high energy, very go, 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 go. They're very different, and understanding that in how you do tricks, like you talked about, Easy wants to play way over there. It helps you understand who the dog is, which
Yes.
then helps you work on the concepts to help with those issues. Tricks, while might not be the answer, like middle isn't the answer,
But it's
but it's
part
a
of it.
massive key
Yeah.
to opening the door to the answer.
Part of the puzzle, right? Like it's part of the puzzle
Absolutely.
that moves us on. And for me, you know what? I know you say it's not the answer, but blinking hell, it's often quite a bit of it, isn't it? Like it's
Yeah,
kind of like,
absolutely.
I think I was thinking about this only the other day. Easy was a pain in the backside, like not just a little bit. Like Easy came from, for those who know her, she's a border collie. She came from Croatia. I brought her in here. I wanted something different and a bit of a challenge. And dear Lord, she arrived in the car park. Someone had driven her here across Europe and over to us at about 20 weeks old. And she got out the car and I was like, I'm so excited. I get to meet my new puppy. And she legged it and hid under a car and growled at me. And I was like, interesting. This is great information. I didn't make a big deal of it. I'm not overly sentimental, actually. I'm quite easily aloof and hands off if I need to be. I'm not that sort of owner. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm not that sort of owner that needs to squish them and cuddle them. I love to, but I don't need to. And so I realized quite early on, Easy liked her own space. If given an opportunity, she would leg it, and not because she was scared, because she would, if given a choice, sleep under a bush in the garden. She'd prefer not to be a household. Like she's very farmy. And I remember thinking, dear Lord, what am I going to do with this? Like, this is not, in sports, I don't need that. In life, I don't need that. She just didn't want to be close. But if I think about how Middle on the Move has changed her as a dog, Middle on the Move, for those people that don't know, it's a game in the training academy. It's a game in most of our programs. It's a game in Sexier and Squirrel. It's a really cool game. And it actually has changed Easy's world, because I put so much value into doing it that actually the outside world became way less important to her than this game. So this game was like an overpowering, like long-lasting, great energy space for her.
I love that. I love that. It's you getting to know your dog and then getting to know what works with your dog. And again, it's not necessarily that Middle was the answer, but man, Middle was like a massive part of the answer. As Tom talks about a lot, is like there's building blocks in the brain. We don't work on a building block and think that's going to fix the dog. Like Middle on the Move won't fix Easy, but man, it's going to make life so much easier with it.
Such a game changer, and it was such a big win.
Yeah.
Quickly, I saw other wins, and then quite quickly, because I had it, I would then try other off-lead strategies. Other tricks I think have been very, very good for Easy. When I think about tricks and games, head low, to get duration with a dog like her, so to get sleepy on the floor, so the sleepy feet, to get things like up on my arms, head under my arms, and just being able to, like, again, it's a proximity game. So actually I picked all of the tricks that were proximity related. And ultimately, and I think this is where people get dog training wrong, but particularly get tricks wrong. Tricks are fun, right, Dan? Tricks are fun.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Oh, heck yeah. And that, yeah, if you're not having fun training your dog, you're doing it wrong, whether it's tricks or otherwise. If it's not fun for you and the dog, you're doing it wrong. Plain and simple. Tricks are fun. Again, it's not just about getting to the end point, but yeah, it is. But it's the journey. For me, it is so much fun working with the dog, and especially adding a client, seeing the dog get it.
Yes.
And the dog's like, oh, wait, when I touch this, I get paid? Oh, wait. And then see the person light up and say, I've heard it so many times. I didn't think my dog would ever do that. And just see somebody and they're having fun. Just like that. It's not me demoing with my dog what your dog could do. Your dog's actually doing this. You're doing it with your dog. So much fun just to see people like come alive. It's like, wait, what? And it becomes so useful and versatile. Again, it's not just about that finished product. That's huge. That's awesome. But the journey, it's just fun.
If we think about some of our favorite tricks, I want to just quickly chat through a couple of our, for me, obviously my favorites are some of the like really well-known tricks, but actually I've watched some tricks that Eliza's been teaching. She's definitely my inspiration when it comes to tricks, because kids are so creative and there's no rules, right? There's no rules. So one of my favorites of Eliza's is she has a pole and Katie will just jump it. And it can be really high, like it can be like double Eliza. It's like above Eliza's head. and she can get it from like down here and like pogo it. Like she can really bring it up high.
That's awesome.
Again, I'll try and find one in a minute, but I love watching that because I just think that's so cool that she can do it at that level. Another one of my favorites is I really love the through your arms trick. Like I literally love a hoop. I love a hoop. I think a hoop is really fun to see.
And
go on.
behavior like the hoop, to tie into kind of concepts, behavior like the hoop, you can't jump through your arms without being close to you. Proximity. Optimism. Some dogs are hesitant to jump through something. You're building optimism. Confidence to be able to jump through that. Disengagement to a certain degree, because a dog got to be able to disconnect from the outside world to be able to make connection with us. It's so powerful.
Oh, we've got one. Let's have a quick.
Oh, that's.
So we're going to see that one once more with the sound effects. Ready? Are we ready for this? Oh, I can't press the middle here.
That's adorable. Now, this is a great jumping off point. For those that are listening to this podcast, go to YouTube. You got to watch this. We're showing some videos. This is a YouTube podcast. Here we go. It's another.
We'll see another video. We're going to see another video. So this is where we're just learning it, just jumping over.
I love it. And this right here, just the ability to break things down. I love this, that you can't expect the finished behavior. So like the previous video was much higher, but then the human side, like I mentioned, like how do you get the dog to jump over it? Bring it lower. Like it works the human brain, the dog brain. Dog starts figuring out, wait, when I do this simple little hop behavior, good things happen. Person starts thinking, wait, how I can't raise the bar literally up here. I've got to bring it lower. So how do I? It engages the brain, which for me, the mental engagement is one of the most overlooked pieces of dog training, hands down. I know, at least in America, it's very, very popular to exercise your dog into obedience. Like a tired dog is less likely to misbehave.
It's so common here that people think this is still the way to do it. Like really
absolutely,
you should still tire your dog out before you train them. Like this makes no sense. Like makes no sense. I've got one more. I know we're gonna have to get everyone on YouTube, aren't we? But one more. Yeah.
Yes, the through the arms. Yes.
So we do definitely do that one low.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, things like that. But it's the mental side is so often overlooked because, quite simply, like I was saying, a tired dog, yes, is less likely to misbehave because they're physically tired and they're not moving, but they're not learning anything. Engage the brain.
You've got the mental, you've got them connected to you. It's that connection that you know that it just builds a different rapport, that you know that if you didn't do it, it would look very different, right? Like it's just got such a different picture. Now, a couple other favorites. Liza's got one that she calls windmill, and she sits like this, and the little dog will jump both arms and come round.
Yes.
I love that. And she's literally kneeling there like Buddha.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
I love it.
Amazing.
I love little things like that. For me, currently, two of my favorites, I just recently did it, and I posted videos. So I think they're in the Training Academy Facebook group. But the G Whiz with Bagheera, the fake pee, the leg lift, that to me it was one of those behaviors I saw, and like I set forth, how would I teach that? Like engage my brain, and it's like, how in the world would you teach a dog to lift their leg, a female dog which doesn't normally lift their leg, on an object? How would you do that? So that was fun for me to kind of break that down and get that behavior. That has been so much fun just to do that. And that other one is burrito, where she'll lay down on a blanket and roll up in the blanket. It's just been fun to break that down and see it come together.
So
I love it.
Thinking about that one, so I think that's a good one to chat on. So Eliza's little dog, interestingly, she called it fajita and burrito. So fajita is way and burrito is
Oh,
the
I
roll.
like that.
So
I
Eliza's
like that.
roll over in both directions. I haven't shown you a video yet. I must. So how is someone like Eliza gonna get it from the rollover, which she's got very nicely both ways, to the rollover with the blanket? Let's break this down.
So whenever you're building a bigger behavior that takes in more than one component, it's not that I'm telling you, Lauren, this, but
I
people
know, I'd like to
listening,
listen to you though.
that
Tell
it's
me.
referred to as a behavior chain, multiple behaviors in one behavior. So for me, for my burrito behavior, I need a down. That's one behavior that I need solid. I need a rollover. That's another behavior I need solid. And I classify it as one, the ability to grab and hold the blanket. So that's three different specific behaviors that you can break off. And the way you know it's a behavior, can you do that thing on its own? That's a behavior. And then it's building each one of those independently. If my dog won't down, I don't care if they can grab the blanket and hold it or roll over. If they won't down, they're probably not going to roll over. So it's building these behaviors individually. So for Liza, then it would be a matter of building that grab and tug. So for me, it was a matter of breaking down. I used a big towel. Using the same object as we did, it makes it easier for the dog to generalize it. If I use a different object every time, the dog's probably going to have to relearn each time. So it's then a matter of breaking off. Okay, so I want to get the dog tugging. Toy switch is great for that. Get them used to tugging and pulling. So we're used to that tugging and pulling. Okay, tug on cue. Okay, you can grab it, tug on cue. You can release on cue. Okay, cool. So I've got that. Then I can build some duration with that tug. So then I build with it on the ground. She's laying down on the ground. I did this with Bagheera. She's laying down on the ground, and I would get her to tug the blanket, and I would click and reward that. Tug the blanket, click and reward that. And then I would ask, tug, and then ask for a rollover. Rollover, she knows. So tug. And initially, totally fine with it. She would grab, tug, let go, and roll over. Totally fine. Totally fine. We're not looking for the completed behavior. But then as she started to get it, it's like the tug started lasting longer and the roll, it just kind of pieced together with it. So as a behavior chain, whenever you're building something, be it getting a beer out of the fridge, or be it a burrito, or be it jumping through your arms, break it down into small bite-sized chunks. And as you do that, it makes it easier for the dog to achieve, and it makes it fun for you to kind of figure out and build fluency in each one of those
I think
pieces
so
and
many
piece it together.
get that bit wrong in the sense that they lump it rather than they
Yes.
split it into those small incremental steps. For me, it's not really
Yeah.
that different to teaching agility. Really, agility again is a
Sure.
big trick, right? Because it's sequencing many behaviors and chains of behaviors. But ultimately, Dan, it's no different, right? Like it's
Absolutely. Yeah.
so love that for Eliza. So Eliza has got the strong burrito. She's got the strong down. She's got a bit of a grab, but I wouldn't say she's got a grab and a pull or a grab and a hold, except on a tennis ball, and as in a tuggy tennis ball, like on a rope. And so I think that she would need to work on that stage for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of people, they see a finished behavior. Maybe you see a video of me. Oh, look at the burrito I do with my dog. And they go right to trying to build the burrito.
Yes.
No, build individual behavior. So, like you say, Liza's got it down. Liza's got to roll over both directions. Now, okay, cool. Let's kind of set that aside. Let's break off and I would use maybe like a hand towel or even a rag, something similar in texture to the material we're going to use to roll up, and just build a little tug and release,
Yeah.
tug and release, tug and release. Then I'd make that rag or hand towel, whatever, bigger, and then build that up. Go slowly with it. And like you said, a lot of people will either try to do too much. A, the person gets frustrated. B, the dog gets frustrated and they don't see results and they give up. Or they'll try to, they expect too much, or they push too fast, and they do. Break it down, do simple things. And I found for Bagheera specifically, and you get to know your dog, Like when I'm working on a new behavior, I'll do it for one day and then I take a break for 1 or 2 days. I don't do it at all. And I come back that second or third day, I come back to it and she's so much more proficient on it. It's like you give her time to rest and think. So I introduce a brand like for Let's Pray, she has two paws up and she has a chin behavior, which I use to get her chin down below. So I introduced those. I did it for a day and then I stopped. I didn't do it. And then I think I waited a day. And so it was like a Monday I did it, and then I skipped Tuesday, and then a Wednesday I came back to it. She was so much better at it. Sometimes you don't need to do that. Like Rue, I would need to do it every day. So
I
it's
think
understanding the dog in front of you.
it's worth asking that question because I know what I think on this, but obviously you're my guest. I want to hear what you know. How long can it sometimes take to teach one trick? Like it might look super easy, like Easy's middle on the move, or Katie's jump through your arms, or Bagheera's selfie, or the CPR game that they're learning.
Yeah.
How long might that take? One of those tricks.
To build fluency and just be really proficient in any environment, it could take, well, quite simply, it could take years, depending on the level of the trick we're doing, depending on the environment we're doing. It could literally take years. I've read some books where they talk about it's like, well, you got to practice this. I worked on this for months, and it's like, wait, what? No, it took me a year to get this. And I think that ties back to naughty but nice dogs. We
Yeah.
so often, I want my dog to stop reacting to other dogs. Cool, no kidding. Who doesn't? It could take years.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that it's going to. It could. But as we break down the individual steps of tricks, of reactivity, we break down, okay, this is where I'm working on this stage. Cool. That could take a week. That could take 2 weeks. That could take a month. Cool. Get really good at that stage. Then you add in your other stage. Again, whether it's a naughty but nice dog or whether it's a trick, be it selfie, be it what, and each dog's going to learn differently. Like my two dogs, Bagheera learned selfie in probably 15 minutes. Very quick, very easy. And selfie is a behavior where she gets up behind me, puts her paws on my shoulders, and then puts her head next to my head. So like you're taking a selfie or something. She learned that very quickly. Rue, I have not done that with her. It would take her at least several days to kind of learn that. And that's not to say, well, Rue's broken because it's taken her. No, it's just how dogs learn differently. And it's understanding that. And again, that's one of the things I really love about tricks is it forces you to focus on the dog in front of you and understand who it
It's
is that I'm working with.
It's so true.
Love it.
What easy would take minutes to teach something like a sleepy,
Yeah,
where
right.
teaching that to, let's say, a very vigilant, active dog who's very upright in their movement. Easy's quite flat in her movement. She's quite low. She's quite border collie, stealth-like, and naturally, when she lies down, she puts her head down. So she's very easy to capture. Whereas you train that to a dog who doesn't have any of that movement, you're talking a completely different game, right, Tower? Like it's a completely different ball game.
Absolutely. And I think you threw a word out there that I think a lot of people might miss, capture. And there's kind of two keys when building a trick, when building games, when building a behavior. There's two ways of doing it: capturing it or shaping it. Capturing it is, as you mentioned with Easy's already offering the chin on the ground, and you're just marking it and rewarding that. The behavior the dog's already offering, you're capturing that and rewarding that and letting the dog know that's good. Shaping, like if you have to shape a behavior, in general, it takes a little longer because you got to build that behavior. And there's two ways of shaping. There's free shaping and direct shaping. Free shaping is I kind of like because you're working with the dog and the dog's figuring out incrementally. Direct shaping, we tend to use more lowering. So it could be like for a head down that we lower with some food to get the head down. Free shaping would be waiting until the dog offers a head down, then you mark and report that. So there's different ways of building that behaviors. Shaping in general takes a little longer, but I like it because you're engaging the dog's brain a little more. And it's so fun just to see a dog light up. Wait, when I drop my head down, oh wait, that's what you're looking for? Whereas if you were to like do it to the dog would be like, oh, okay, cool. This is what you want. Okay, yeah. Cool. Oh, it's so fun watch. I
And
light up.
I
I
have,
light up when you see a dog light up. It's
I love, I mean, I love both. And I agree when you see a dog get it and the light go on. For me, I remember growing up, I had a dog called Bella. She was a family border collie. She was a tri-coloured border collie, very, very smart little dog. Sharp as hell, naughty but nice for sure. Bit my dad's friend once when he came into the room and shouted downstairs, "Whatever you do, come in, but don't stroke the dog." And then Bella, the dog, went up to my dad's friend at the kitchen table and he put his hand on her as she nuzzled him, and with that she bit him. Bella definitely had a disengagement problem. Bella definitely was quite a fearful dog, but a really cool dog and a very smart dog, and in lots of ways a very good educator. I had her when I was 15, so I was quite young, and yeah, she lived a good 15, 16 years, so we had her a long time now as a family pet. Now one of my favorite tricks I ever taught Bella was I taught her to dig on cue. And when you're 15 and you teach on cue, it is really cool. And I remember I captured it I was on the beach because we've always lived in Devon. I've grown up in Devon. I've lived in Devon all my life. And she was digging on the beach and I captured it. And I was really lucky with Bella. I found a lot of aversive trainers in my sort of upbringing as a dog trainer, but my first trainer was actually a clicker trainer. And he was an ex-police clicker trainer, and he'd come over. He actually was in the States and he moved to the UK. And I met him when I was 15, and then he moved away again by the time I was 17. But my first 2 years of training were with a clicker trainer. And he just told me to capture it. And he was like, capture stuff.
yeah.
What I loved with capturing is your timing is imperative as to what you're capturing. And if you can set up the environment to be able to capture it, it can be so quick. And being
Yeah.
a creature of efficiency myself, I just loved how quick that was. I was like, oh my goodness, I can have a conversation with her so easily. Like, as long as I charge my clicker, I actually have a dog who is operant and waiting to hear that. And so she would be doing stuff and she'd be like, this? Oh my God. Like, I love that about capturing. And so I love those light bulbs. As much as I love free shaping, sometimes, again, your timing is really, really important.
Yeah.
But equally, you might get through a heck of a lot of rubbish. Whereas with capturing to a degree, as long as you set up the environment, I mean,
Yeah.
both of them, if you set the environment up, you should get it, right?
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Yes. And I like it again, you kind of alluded to something in there, the timing. It's not just about working with the dog, but we're working on the human side too. I tell my clients all the time, there's key foundations that we work on. And it's not just about the dog skills, but the better the human side, better you get with your timing, your clicks or your verbal mark or whatever, the better you get with your skills, the better the dog's going to get. If you're messy in all over the place, like with the digging, and you mark it after the dog's done digging, the dog's going to be like, oh, wait, this? Or it's going to confuse things. Yeah. So it works on the human side. It gets the both parties involved in the training. Love that. It's so real, it's powerful. It doesn't just happen. It's a relationship. It's a conversation.
It's engaging, right? Like, it's engaging. Now,
Yeah.
I know we've been chatting a while because we enjoy chatting, Tara and I. We like to chat dog training. This is
Yes.
me. Let's just literally do a very quick, fast top tips trick session. So
Sure.
tease right really quickly then. So let's do like a few top tips. So my first tip to anyone out there who wants to have a go at some tricks and some playing some tricks with your dog. My first tip is play with a hungry dog. So always play with a hungry dog, or a dog who's had a bit of a rest, who isn't coming in tired. I definitely wouldn't take them out for a long run, feed them their dinner and then try and play. Like, you need an operant dog, a dog who's going to offer you something when you're playing tricks. So I want a refreshed dog a dog who's fresh to some learning, who's had all their needs met, they've had a drink, they've had a wee, they've had a little exercise session, but they're definitely not tired and they're hungry and they're ready to do a bit more. So that'd be my top tip for my tricks. Number one, there's going to be more. You go, Dan.
I love that. For me, it's hard to say my top tip, but the first one that comes to mind, start simple. It could be as simple as teaching your dog how to sit, how to down, how to stand. I find a lot of people, that third one, stand, people are like, huh? How do I teach it? So how do you teach your dog how to stand? I'm not going to tell you. Go figure it out. It's pretty easy. Break it down. Start simple. Don't overthink things. Even if it's a behavior of getting a beer out of the fridge, keep it simple. That's where Lauren mentioned before, lumping people. You get in trouble by doing too much. Keep it simple. If it's too hard for you to understand, guess what? It's going to be hard for the dog to understand. If you can't make it simple, if you can't capture it, if you can't shape it quickly and easily, it's too hard. Keep it simple.
So my next tip is going to be that I think we should video some of our sessions. And the reason I think we should video some of our sessions is that I think mechanically, I'm often like, yeah, I'm great in mechanics. And I'm like, watch a video. I'm like, dear Lord, I've got more to work on. And sometimes it's a bit like when I watch myself do agility, I'm like, I am fast. I am swift. I am like the wind. And then I watch myself and I'm like, who is that slug going around the agility course? Oh my God, that is me. Oh God, I'm so much on that. So I think sometimes in reality, our vision of ourselves isn't always quite as matched to that. So for me, yeah, I definitely need to watch more sessions, and whenever I watch a session, I definitely can give myself a little bit of feedback. You were late there, or your timing of your reward was a bit off there, or your placement of your reward could help that, or maybe your dog isn't enjoying that reward experience like you thought they would. I remember watching a video with Brave where I was playing with her and I was putting my hands on her face. And every time I put my hands on her face, she kind of winced, like she didn't enjoy it. And I was really surprised because I thought she liked me being quite rough with her, but she really didn't. I think video sessions is my next tip. Over to you, Dan.
Yes. I love that. I'm not going to, but I could talk a lot about that one. That's a powerful one. I fully agree with that. That's great. For me, I would say keep sessions short, especially when you're starting off. Especially, be it a sit, be it a down, I don't care. Mentioned this before. I keep sessions short. I like using a built-in timer of 5 to 10 treats in the hand. Boom, go through those, kind of check in with your dog. Are you still good? You focused? You tapping out? If you're tapping out, cool, that's the end of the session. If you're still good, cool, another 5 to 10 treats. At the same time too, if I have 10 treats and I'm 2 treats in and I can tell my dog is just not performing the way I'd like, or they're not feeling it, done. Keep sessions short. I think we so often get in trouble. It's like, okay, I'm going to do a short session. It's going to be 5 minutes long. Cool, that's good. But then it's like the dog was done after 30 seconds. And it's like, you keep going for that next 4.5. Keep it short. Pay attention to the dog and keep it short. 5 to 10 treats. Doesn't have to be a hard fast. Oh, I grabbed 11 treats. Whatever. Basically, I don't want to take a lot of treats. Keep it short.
Yeah, roughly right. I don't think that's a good rule.
Absolutely.
Right. Like you're roughly right. And I agree on that. And I'm going to follow on and say frequency with trick training is good. If you can do some regular frequent sessions, as long as, like you said, when you do your pulse check, your dog is there. So for me, if I'm working on a new trick, I would want to do that at least once a day, if not a few times a day, because I think they need things like weave pole training or jump in your arms training or leg weave training or any of those tricks. I do think they need a few reps, but small increments of the same behavior. So I'm not trying to lump it. I'm not trying to do, okay, we go from naught to jumping through hoops in one session. But actually, I do think we need frequency in doing it, Tower. I think that we have to do a few sessions, because if not, it will take a year to build it, maybe 2, 3.
Absolutely. And kind of pairing off of that, have a plan. Kind of have an end goal in mind. If it's a sit, what does that sit look like? Is it the sit, like I'm working on a heel sit where the dog is perfectly parallel with me? Or am I working on a sit in front of me? Am I working on a sit at distance? What is the behavior supposed to look like? If you don't know, how do you know if you've got it? If you have an idea, I want my dog to sit with a front 6 inches away from me on its back leg, whatever. If you're really precise in knowing what to look for, cool. It'll help your training. Have an end goal in mind,
And
whatever it is.
if it's not looking right and you're not going in the right direction, pop your dog away, whether that's back in their bed, in a crate, in a pen, in another room. Pop your dog away, have a rethink. Don't keep trying to hash it out. Like if the plan is going bit Pete Tong, then literally pop the dog away, rethink it, because there is no
Absolutely.
way to teach a burrito, right? Like we can
Right.
teach, these are fun. These are
Right.
experimenting, these are exploring, these are like creative writing. These are like saying to me, no, Dan, you can't draw the cartoon character like that. You can't do that.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
hang on a second, I'm drawing Bugs Bunny. If I want to draw Bugs Bunny in this way, I can draw Bugs Bunny in this way. Like, these are the fun bits, these are the creative bits. These are not the places where
Yeah.
there are strict rules, like your dog has to go in the weave poles with the left shoulder first. Like, these are not this place. Like, your tricks, if you want to teach your dog to walk up the wall doing a handstand, you can teach your dog. And if you want to lure it, shape it, capture it, if you want to do targeting, bridging, you do what you like. Most of all, as long as it's kind, actually you can rethink your plan at any point, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Be flexible.
Be-
Absolutely. And understand how to modify, change, work with the dog in front of you. Absolutely. I love
And
that. Yeah.
I think, Dan, Tower, I like both names. I
Absolutely.
think most of all, both you and I could probably talk tricks all year. I think we are both
Yeah.
fans. Like we are
Yeah.
both
I love tricks. Yeah.
both keen. So if you're part of the training academy, check out Dan's got a couple of videos in the training academy. So do check out him and the wonderful
Yeah.
Bagheera. There is a tricks badge coming to Absolute, and basically I love them. I love them. And it was a bit of a fight to get it on our agenda, I'll be honest, Tower, because like I was talking to you before we started our podcast, you kind of need a basis. We want people to have the academy, or we want people to have Sexier and Squirrel, because you
Yeah.
kind of need a good starting point, right? Like you need a good starting point. So there needs to be a place to start. I love that Bagheera is coming up. She's like, I'm in, I'm coming up here.
She's not very camera savvy. She's
This is my
yeah.
show. And I do like sleeping, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally. She hops up and lays down.
she is
Yeah.
cool.
With that, you mentioned having a foundation, and training academy is not just a tricks foundation, but an amazing foundation, talking about naughty but nice dogs, but for everything. But since this is specifically about tricks, I would say there's a couple key behaviors to start off with for tricks. It took me a while to kind of figure this out, but a couple key behaviors: targeting and stationing or boundary games. To me, those two, if you have solid target behavior or solid station behavior, that opens the door to so many other tricks. So, example with Burrito, you could say targeting. She targets the blanket, stations on the blanket, targets biting it, and rolls over. With the let's pray, she targets with two paws up on my leg, and she puts her head under. Targeting is such a useful behavior. If you've ever seen a dog in movies or TV, they
Targeting.
use targeting and stationing. That
And
is
the other
huge.
one I might add that I think is very, very it furthers everything is, I think mouse game can really help just to get
Yes.
static when you need it. So I agree, like we want that level of stationary. Sometimes the targeting really, really powerful, whether that's 2 feet on or 2 feet up, or like being on objects or with objects or boundaries, or all of those are powerful. I love targeting. And also I really, really find, like, yeah, mouse I find really it's just easy to then get the attention where I want it, or to be able to move them from like visually looking somewhere to somewhere else. Or I find it really, really powerful. So again, I agree. If people are on or in the training academy, to be working hard on those two, pre the badge coming out, or pre being able to watch some of your tricks in the group, and it's powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically in training academy, you've got nose touch. That's a targeting behavior. I love nose touch. You've got that. You've got two paws on. That's also a targeting. I like two paws on because it's a double. You're doing paw targeting, but you're also working on stationing, because you're getting a dog to go to a stationary position. Two paws, four paws, boundary games is powerful for so many things. That's a go there, do something behavior, which opens the door to so many other things.
It truly does, isn't it? I mean, boundary games is really it is a game changer, Tower.
This is adorable. I gotta show you.
Look at her.
So this is my high energy Dutch Shepherd English Lab sleeping, and she has not had a walk today.
She is the coolest. She is the coolest, and is the coolest because you're a cool owner for her. Now, Dan, Power, we are literally trick fanatics. I know that this is not our last podcast together. There are more podcasts coming. I thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, it is truly my pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I love to sit on the couch and talk dogs with you. Hopefully someday I'll actually be able to do it without a computer screen in front of us, that we'll be able to sit and
I know you're
chat dogs.
I can feel it. Either I'm out to California, which will not take a lot of work. I mean, I could be there tomorrow. And I also know that you're coming here. I feel it. So
I would love to. It's a matter of when. Yeah.
You can sit with the orange wall behind you. It'll be bright enough to handle us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, Tower, to chat tricks with you. I know that all of our listeners are going to literally go away inspired, wanting to teach hoops and selfies and super cool praying. Literally, I know that we're enthusing dog owners all over the world. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. I hope that you share this episode with a friend, family, mother, brother, sister, long lost lover. Share it all over the world, because Tara and I know that tricks build relationships, and relationships change dog ownership for the better. That was this episode of the Sexier and Squirrel podcast. I thank you for joining us, Tower. And I absolutely cannot wait for the next episode. It's going to be action-packed, jam-packed. Make sure you join us. And most of all, remember,
stay sexy.
Woo!
Stop right there, Game Changer. We have something very exciting to tell you about if you struggle with stressful walks right now.
So pulling your dog, yanking your arm out of its socket, just basically it's painful, right?
Now, it's a struggle that you want to transform. You want to go from pulling on lead like a train to loose leash walking prince or princess, and we've got a solution for you.
It is just £27. It's a mini course that literally is going to be your zero to hero of loose leash walking.
Day by day, we're going to be showing you the games and skills and strategies that you are going to need to implement to transform your dog's leash behavior in the next 2 weeks.
This is a complete package. You get to keep it for life. Yes, for life. And it's just £27 to you.
Access it anywhere, keep it for life, no equipment required, and all you've got to do is go to absolutedogs.me/stop pulling. And yes, it is just £27, Game Changers.